Good afternoon. Welcome to GSuite Live Part 2. My name is Ryan, and I'm sure you've all just tuned in to Matt's Part 1 session where he gave a great introduction to Google Classroom. Now, we're going to be looking at how to build a resource hub using GSuite, and that's going to be tailored towards perhaps a teacher who wants to make an independent site for their classroom. Now, I'm just going to share my screen. I've normally got Craig in the backstage help me do this, so fingers crossed I can manage to do it on my own. So, okay, I'm going to go full screen, and I'm just going to talk you through then the full steps of building this resource hub using GSuite. Now, I'm going to use Google Sites. It's going to integrate with a lot of the other Google apps, but mainly it's going to be held on sites. Now, there's several ways in which you can go and access sites. Now, obviously, I've got the waffle just up here, and you can access it via sites there. You've got the new button. When you go to more, you've got Google Sites there. One of my favorite ways to access sites is just typing in sites.new into the Omnibox, the URL bar, if you like, at the top, clicking enter. And this then, fingers crossed it's going to work, it'll load up a brand new empty Google site. Here you go. Say empty, it has got a little bit of functionality already there waiting for you. So the first thing I would tend to do when building a Google site is give your site a name. Now in here, I'm just going to call this then the Resource Hub. Now, as with nearly all of the Google apps, this up here is the actual file name that's going to live in your My Drive area. By clicking this once, it's identified what I've already called my website, and it's done a little bit of the hard work for you. The next thing I'm going to do is give my my home page a nice big title. So on here, again, I'm just going to delete all that text. Welcome. Okay, this could be whatever you like for the text. What you can also do is change this background image. So change an image here. You can either upload something, so a banner, which are very popular across social media at the moment, how people are making custom banners with their Bitmojis, etc. Or you've got the select image, which will give you a huge library of all the different template images for you. Again, you can do a couple of searches. You can go on to Google Image Search. I'm going to go with that one there. Fantastic. Okay, you can just see, and it'll adjust that for you, and it'll do a lot of the sort of mobile optimization, which we'll come on to later for you. Now, the next thing I would tend to do at the very beginning of my journey into building a resource hub is decide what theme I'm going to use across the whole site. Now, the third tab you can see over in the top right-hand corner here, themes. Now, this is something that if decided at a later stage in your build, it's going to have a bit of a knock-on effect because this will give you your house styles and colors and themes across everything. They're all slightly different from each other. You can all modify them. They're all customizable. For now, let's go to Vision. You can see that the welcome text then changed. If I go to Diplomat, you can see the types of things that are changing with it. Font style, there's a drop-down here. You can change that to a far heavier text. Quite like that one. Then we've got the bucket. And let's go for a nice red theme with that as well. Okay, so now that I've decided on my theme, I can just come away from that. There's no reason to click save. It just doesn't happen with Google, as you're probably well aware. So the next thing I'm going to do now is go back across my main three tabs here. I'm going to go to the Insert Functionality options. With this is your main template now, then your main interface that you're going to start inserting content, media, whatever you like onto your Google site. So the first thing I'm going to do here, insert a text box. And you can see it's just dropped a text box into my first section. Now on here, I'm going to write Mr. Evans is class 20, let's say we're starting this in September 2020, 2021. Now, again, you can see the basic functionality, the formatting options. So I've selected it. Let's go bold. Let's go center aligned. And let's perhaps give it the heading font. So it's again identified that red is our sort of default color it's going to be using. Also on the side here, you've got three additional options to use. You've got the section background. So you can choose, let's go for emphasis 2. You can see then that it's used my red and it's trying to change that, transition that into a clearer text so we can see. The option below that, duplicate. you can see that it's doubled up, it's made a copy, and obviously the bin, delete that section, disappears. Now, the next option you've got is your images. Obviously, you can upload. I'm currently using a MacBook at the moment to do my demonstration on, but obviously with a Chromebook or another device, it's going to go for the default hard drive with the upload section. Or select, again, is giving you the full functionality of all the different tools available to us. So we've got a URL. So if you had a link, so you found an image elsewhere and you could paste it in there, Google image search. Okay, so in up the top here, you might type in, let's go Wales. You've got all the copyright free, which is obviously an important for citizenship, etc. It's a really nice conversation to have with your pupils at that stage. Photos is your Google Photos link, and then Google Drive. It's taking me into my Google Drive now then, where I've got an image that I want to use for my classroom. Selecting it, and then insert. I've placed that just below that next section. What I've got the option of is obviously to drag it. You can see my grid lines, my guidelines are there for me. And I'm going to place that dragon just underneath it there. Now, what you can do, perhaps I might place it over on the left and throw a text box in. Now, the text box, again, has gone into the section below. Using these 8 dots over here, that's the move capabilities. If I drag that, hopefully, he says, let's put some text in there. Welcome to my class resource hub. Let's see if that makes a difference. No, it's not. Okay, we'll come back into the layout section shortly, but that's going to allow me to align things next to each other. We'll come back to that one. Embed. Now, this is quite an advanced feature, which we'll come on to in our resource subpage shortly, but it allows you the embed function, either via a URL or some HTML embedded code to put something on your Google site from another source, which we'll come on to. I'll demonstrate that shortly. The Drive button, that's basically the key to the whole of your Google Drive. Now, if you were to select that, that would allow you to insert Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Forms. You can see, so that's a doc, a form, a sheet, an image, a Google Doc, etc. So anything within there, you can then insert. So for example, this could be another way of inserting an image, which I've already done, or it could be, let's say, a documentation, a newsletter. All you would do, select it and insert, and it's going to drop it in again in another section. There you go. That's just some template text there. It's dropped it onto my homepage. You see, I've got the option to delete that doc, or I can use it there. Okay. As you go down further, these are probably one of my favorite features of Google Sites here, the layouts options. So with this, it's probably what I should have done first. With the layouts, if I was to select that layout tool, you can see that it's given that what's identified as an image to the left and some text to the right. So if I now place that right at the top here to make it look really sort of aesthetic. So I'm going to copy this text. Let's cut it, actually. I'm going to paste that in there. And my image. And I'm going to drop that in there. So you can see it's very much more pleasing on the eye. It's the layouts. It looks very professional. It's done for you. Now what I would do is just delete the sections that I wasn't using. In here, introduction, perhaps. Again, I might want to put much text in there to really give context of what the Resource Hub was offering my learners. Again, all of these different functionalities here, you can see there's 2 images, 2 sort of on top of each other and a big one. Let's go for this one. Really like this one because it does, when you go into your mobile phone sort of preview mode, you'll see shortly now how they live on top of each other. Obviously, with the mobile phone screen being a lot narrower, they won't sort of be in that horizontal shape. So with that then, with the layouts, the first one, I'm going to insert a video. And now this could be something that's my class-based or the whole school perhaps. So we're aware of several schools who've built their actual school websites through Google Sites and have uploaded videos, etc., just as we are here. So what I'm going to do is link to YouTube. And in here, I'm going to type our school tour. Now, this might be a video that you've uploaded to yourself to YouTube or that you're aware of. Obviously, now in this context, I have seen this video prior, but I would really make sure that the content I'm putting onto my Google Sites is accurate and fit for purpose. Obviously, anything could be uploaded to YouTube and you run the risk of potentially putting something inappropriate. So I have checked this one. It's a tour around another school, but we'll use it as our example. So by selecting that, you can see the blue box is all around it, and then select. And that video then is placed as a YouTube embedded link, very much like you've seen on the Resource Hub already. The Conference Hub, which we'll come on to later. That's how we've done that. We've inserted a link, a video to YouTube. The second one here now then, this could be, again, anything you want. What I'm going to do is select another image. Now, this could be perhaps a map of the school, or it could be a picture of the front gates, etc. Again, using the same functionality, Google image search, and you place it in there. What I'm going to do, the plus, let's go to calendar. So what I've done in my Google Calendar, rather than my personal calendar, I've created a brand new one here, and you can see it's popped up. Here's my personal calendar. Well, I don't really want to communicate that to all my learners and the families, but I've got a specific distance learning class. Again, you can call it what you like within Google Calendar. Insert in that. And on there, you'll see all the different events, and it's very much user-friendly to click through. It might be when the deadlines are, when sports day is, when the end of term, that sort of context you could place it in. And finally, this third section, we're going to go for Google Maps. Now, again, obviously pupils know where the school is, but this could be perhaps a location that you're talking about this term. It could be anything you want. So for now, I'm going to go to Cardiff. Again, it's using Google Maps. By selecting Cardiff, it's going to zoom right in to perhaps the centre of Cardiff, or it could be perhaps Cardiff Castle. If I was looking at maybe doing, let's go into Cardiff Castle. Round about, where are we? Safari Gardens, here's the castle right there. And I can choose whether I wanted it in map view or even in satellite view. So you can see the castle there. It's a great way of getting learners to go and have a look of what's in the vicinity of Cardiff Castle or whatever your topic might be. Selecting that, and then you can see it's dropped that in. And if you wanted to go to satellite mode, you're just going to select that button in the bottom. Underneath, it does give you the option then, template text ready for you. So I might say our school, dates, and location, etc. You can customize it whatever you like. If you want the bottom section, by clicking into it, you get the option on the far right-hand side, delete tile, and it disappears. Doesn't give you then that subtitled text. Again, very quickly, just knocking up. You can see how fast, within 5-10 minutes now, I've built this Google site. Give it an hour or so, it could be fully functioning website. Now, below our layout section on this right-hand side here, now you've got all this functionality available to you. It's very user-friendly, and I'd advise you, when you are perhaps developing your own site, just have a play about with it. Nothing is published until you click this publish button at the top. Collapsible text is a great way of sort of having subtext hidden off the main screen, but by clicking into it, you get to open that up. A table of contents is useful. An image carousel for me is, again, one of my personal favorites. So you can go and select multiple images. Select image that way. Again, you could have uploaded it from your device, but I'm going to select some from a Google image search. Let's stay patriotic. Let's stay in Wales. And I'm going to select one image. So you can see by selecting it and deselecting it, the blue tick appears and disappears. Let's get some nice daffodils, a bit of the coastline, and fantastic, a nice mountain sheep. Insert. Now, it takes time, a couple of seconds. You can see the first image is there already. If I was to click insert before that wheel is finished, you won't collect that image. Now that the 4 of them have appeared, by clicking insert, you can see now then that the first image is there for me with 4 dots underneath. Now, when we do go into the preview mode to see this Google site, what it's going to look like when it's published, you'll see how we can interact and flick through the slideshow or the image carousel, if you like. Button, again, a great resource to have on the site. Perhaps either internal links or external links that you could use. So if I do this, I'm going to call this perhaps, let's go BBC Sport. The link, www.bbc.co.uk/sport. Now, obviously, that link is going to be tailored to whatever your needs are. It could be to the school site. It could be to a form. It could be any way you want. I'm just using that as an example. By clicking insert, it's dropped a button, again, which I can move around wherever I like. So it could be a bit of text, perhaps here. It says, have a look at this image carousel, and then click to see a video or to learn more via the Welsh Government website, Hub, etc. A divider is purely an aesthetics sort of feature. You can see by clicking that, I just dropped a nice grey bar. It does sort of space your website out. It is quite practical. A placeholder could be things where you want pupils to sort of come in and co-construct this site, if you like. It's one of the new features in Google Sites. So you might just say a bit of text, please insert your Google Slides, for example, in this placeholder. YouTube, calendar, maps, all of these now then are the individual ways you can add these. Exactly like we did previously using the Drive button, you've really got a breakdown of all the different Google apps that integrate directly to this. Another feature that perhaps tends to get a little bit lost occasionally, and people don't tend to use it as much, is a footer. Adding a footer in here now could be anything. It could be contact details. It could be social media links, telephone numbers, etc. Again, by pasting in there, Mr. Evans' class 2020-21. Again, that would be something then that would be linked up all across every page that you build on your website. Now, to go and have a brief look at this then, in the top bar up here, the preview button, it's going to give me then what it would look like on the web. And you can see already it's looking rather professional considering it's taken me 10 minutes to do. The welcome image, which I chose, the sort of red theme throughout, the text, the image. Here's your videos. Well, by clicking those would take me to the, like you've seen throughout the day so far, would open up that video panel. Here's my calendar, which I can flick through. My map is fully interactive. And as I go down, like I said, the carousel now has got interactive buttons that would allow me to flick through my image carousel. And then by clicking BBC Sport, obviously it takes me to the relevant link that I've done. I mentioned mobile optimization. Obviously, we've got iPad as well. So this is what it looks like on a desktop. This is what it would look like on an iPad. So maybe something to consider. You can see that the E and the exclamation mark have dropped down. Something to consider. And also on your phone, that's what it would look like on a phone, which perhaps Key Stage 4, Key Stage 5 is the main way that the pupils would be engaging in the resource hub. Would be a great way to feature, to focus on what it looks like on a mobile phone. As you scroll down, all my content is exactly the same. The layout, like I said, it automatically does it for you. It puts it on top of each other. So here's my video, my calendar, and then my map, and then your image carousel working exactly like it did with the desktop feature. Here's my external link button and my footer. To come out of this preview mode, you need to remember, and it's something that does trick a lot of people up, you need to come back out, exit preview, which takes us then back to sort of the back door of the site. Now, what I'm going to do now is I've got my homepage. Now, I know it's not the best it could be, but for now, I'm going to park that and I'm going to create some sub pages. Now, when I click this second tab here of pages, the first one you see, it's obviously the homepage, is this one here. Now, at the bottom, this plus, I'm going to click new page. By new page, I'm then perhaps going to do, let's do a resource page, resources. I'm done. Now you can see already it's created a page underneath my homepage with resources already on it and a blank canvas of a page here. So what I'm going to do quickly, insert, and let's throw a Google Forms in. And it could be a stay active task, for example. Got one here. Could drop that onto the page like so. A Google form that I've previously made, which I can then edit and move around and customize as much as I want. But what I want to do with this, with the resources, is make each week become a sub-page of resources. So when you've got resources selected, what you're going to do is click the 3 vertical dots just here on the right-hand side. And you can see just the 4th option down, add a subpage. Okay, and I'm going to call this one week 1. Done. Now what it's done, you saw perhaps that a navigation bar has appeared at the very top of my screen. It wasn't there when I just had the one home page. But what I've got is home. And when I go over to resources, I've now got a drop-down option with week 1. Again, exactly the same. Resources, add subpage. Let's go week 2. So I could be really far in advance with all my planning for the whole term maybe. But if I don't want my pupils to see what's coming up in week 2, I can build that page. But what I can do is hide it from navigation, which is a really nice feature to do. So I can build it perhaps at the start of term or in my PPA, whenever it might be. But I don't want everyone having a head start, if you like. So I'll hide that from navigation. You can see now it's got a blue line through it and it doesn't appear in there. When I go to the 3 dots, show in navigation, there it is. It's appearing like so. So if I go back to week 1, etc., week 2. So let's hide that one for now. Okay. Oops, wrong button. Week 2. To delete that, it's a great way of showing you that then. 3 dots, delete, will simply just delete that page. Week 2, 3 dots, hide from navigation. So with regards to week 1, what I want to do now is give my pupils, we're going to do this stay active task. So on the insert function, I'm going to want to give them some content to follow. So using the embed tool, this is where I'm going to go and get a URL of a really great resource, and I'm going to embed it on my site. So in my bookmarks up here, I've got a link to self-isolation, simple exercise routine. It's been uploaded to the BBC website, so I'm pretty sure that the content's going to be appropriate for pupils. Again, I'd very much encourage you to make sure that it is. But all I'm going to do is copy the URL at the top. So it's all that text is selected. Again, different devices are going to do it differently. But for me on a Mac, it's Command and C, but it's Control and C, etc. to copy. Resource hub, back to resource hub, embed. Now with the URL, I'm just going to paste that URL in here. And this is where Google Sites does its magic for me. I can customize some of this information if I wanted. I'm just going to insert that straight in to my Google Sites. So that's a direct link to that subpage of the BBC website. Now that perhaps would give the pupils a bit of context. Now linking to Matt's demonstration prior to mine, where he spoke about Google Classroom, the task could be set with a link to this page saying all the resources you need are here for you. What I'm also going to do, again, I could do this via Drive, or I could do it direct from the Forms button just down here. Forms, the Stay Active Challenge. Now, there are 2 forms that I've put in my Drive. I've created them in Forms ready, and it's a simple case of inserting them in there that the pupils then will have to complete. Okay, pages, back to pages, and now I'm going to create another subpage, but I don't want it to fall under the resources section. So I'd go to home again, 3 dots, add a subpage. Now again, this is a really useful way, rather than giving out perhaps email addresses or your social media handles to pupils and families, a contact us page is a really nice way of being able to do this. Now you can see by clicking that subpage, perhaps by accident, I've done that on purpose so we can say contact us. Well, I don't really want it as a drop down. It wants to be a standalone page. So all I would do is click and hold the contact us, and I can drag it to wherever I want. Now, when the full blue line you can see appears there, when I drop it, it becomes its own page within the navigation bar. So I've now got home, which is a standalone, resources, which might have multiple weeks in the drop down, and contact us. If, for example, I wanted drop downs of drop downs, again, that's exactly the same process where you'd have to create a subpage of your week 1 like this, and we'll call this examples maybe. I'm done. Now you can see now the indentation beginning to appear on the right hand side here. So if I go into resources, week 1 has got an additional drop down again showing me my examples, which is a really nice way of sort of storing and building this resource hub for your learners to pick up quite simple. Another great feature that's appeared quite recently in the Google Sites is the announcement bar. and particularly at this time we really want to make important information clear to families. In the settings option up here, you have got multiple ways of changing things. Brand images, which would give perhaps the icon with regards to your site, you can change things. But this announcement banner here, just down at the bottom, announcement banner, show banner, you can choose customization is great on this. The banner color, let's go for a nice red one to start. No, perhaps not do red. Let's go for yellow to stand out against it. So the announcement is, please see this update. Okay, and then the button label could be click here. And in the link, this could be, for now, again, I'm going to go to the bbc.co.uk, for example. That might be a Welsh Assembly government announcement. It might be a YouTube video, whatever it is. And then I can click open a new tab. So I've put my information in, and you'll see then when I click all pages, this banner will appear on any page on my site. If I don't click save, it just automatically does it by clicking that X. Here then is a brand new announcement banner right at the top. It's a great way of seeing, as soon as somebody arrives to your site, a great way of seeing, oh, I need to click this, and they'll have access to that information. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into preview. And you can see here's my mobile phone view. The example page is loaded up. You've now got this sort of burger style icon at the top, show sidebar. It's very much pupil friendly. They're going to be used to websites like this on their phone. So it's very much in line with what a lot of very expensive, I would have thought, websites, etc. are built with. Again, home, resources. You can see how quickly you can navigate through all your different subpages. And there's all the opportunities, the Google form that the pupil would complete. And then once they've done it, click and submit, giving you that information. To contact this one, again, that'd be somewhere where I put perhaps contact details, such as email addresses, main school and phone number. And again, what's really useful, you can put a Google form in to get them to interact like that. Again, when I'm going into the different views, you can see what they look like. Exiting the preview again, and we're now going to look at the publishing settings with a Google site. You've got multiple ways of interacting with this. So I've built this on my own, and perhaps, well, I'm not the most graphically designed sort of person, so I might want to bring somebody in to collaborate with me. So what I would do is this icon here, share with others. So it could be a case of saying, well, I've taken this site so far, but my co-teacher, perhaps let's go, Matt. Let's say, okay, Matt, can you come on board and really help me with this site? Or perhaps put your resources on that you're going to be teaching, etc. So I'm giving him at the moment full editing access, or you can just see the final version of your site. Let's give him editor access, he's my co-teacher, and send. So Matt will then have an email sent to him, giving him access to this. It'll also be in his shared with me section of his Google Drive. Now, once we were then really happy with the site and we were willing to then publish it, you've got a couple of settings available to you. By clicking publish, you can name your site. Okay, so you can see at the moment it's got sites.google.com/aspiretobe.wales/the resource hub. A little bit of a mouthful. You are able to buy your own custom domain. So give a shout out to llyshwareprimary.co.uk. It's a great Google Sites website that's been built for the whole school. So each teacher, I believe, has got their own sub page, and it's really engaging for the whole school community to engage with. At the moment, if I was to publish this, only people in my domain. So this could be the same in your school. So only people at your specific school domain could see it. So you're going to need to manage that if you want to make this fully accessible across your domain. So then ensuring that it goes, so links vary. So let's change that. Draft is restricted, but the published site, I don't just want Aspire to be. So the drop down, public. By ensuring that this site has then become public, when I click done, and when I click publish, you can see at the bottom, your site has been published successfully. Now, you're welcome to click in and have a look at this site, but that now potentially could be shared across this URL address at the top, could be shared across your social media, across your school website, whatever it might be. I've seen great use of QR codes. So you QR code your web address and put it up onto your school site or whatever it might be. let's go now then to my resource hub of the day. And I can tell you that this site here that hopefully you've had a quick look at, this was all built with Google Sites. So it's a really great way of building professional looking sites. Now, obviously, we've got a graphic designer who helps us at Aspire2Be. So a big shout out to Sophie, who's helped sort of fine tune some of our ideas with this to make it look aesthetically pleasing. So you can see, although mine wasn't the best looking, this one is a really nice example of what a Google site can really look like. So please feel free to have a look through that. Any questions, please fire them over. And I'm now going to send you over to Matt's second Google demonstration. So that it'll be, I'll put it in the chat shortly. It's bit.ly/A2BConf20 Google 03. So I'll put that in the chat shortly and you'll be able to go and visit that. Best of luck and enjoy Google Sites.